So it's good to see all of you here today. I guess I'd like to ask, has everybody gotten some instruction in meditation before this? So I'd like to speak tonight about practice in our lives. And there are many examples in the Buddhist scriptures of lay people who have practiced meditation and realized enlightenment or gained significant wisdom. So we should understand that we too can practice and gain benefit, whether we have the chance to meditate intensively the way people, for example, the monks in Burma, they meditate for the 3 months of the rainy season. That is traditional. But people can also practice on a part-time basis and gain significant benefits. First of all, I'd like to tell the story of a woman named Mātikamātā. There was a group of 60 monks, and as was traditional, they got their instructions from the Buddha, and then they went to find a place to meditate. And they went to a village called Mātika that was at the foot of a mountain. The Mātikamātā was the mother of the village headman, and when she met the monks, she offered them food, and she had a monastery built for them so that they could spend the rainy season in the village. And every day she offered food to them. These monks were determined to meditate seriously, so they made an agreement among themselves that they wouldn't speak. Each of them would stay alone. No two of them wouldn't get together in groups, except for when they had monks' business to do. And when there was something like that, then they agreed that they would sound the wooden drum. They would hit the wooden drum, and then only at that time would they come together. One day, Mātikamātā went to see how the monks were doing. And when she came to the monastery, she found that it was completely silent. She couldn't see anyone. She didn't hear any sounds from anyone. And she thought, are they sick? Or did they get into a quarrel with each other and they're not speaking? So what has happened? And she didn't know what had happened. So she went to the wooden drum and she sounded it. And all the monks came together at that time. And so she asked the senior monk, what's happening? Are you sick? Is there something wrong? Have you quarreled? And the senior monk said, no. We are just devoting ourselves to practicing meditation. So we don't come together. We don't socialize. We stay by ourselves so that we can get the benefits of meditation. And Mātikamātā asked, is this meditation something that I can do too? And the senior monk said, yes, of course you can. So she asked him to teach her, and he did. So he taught her how to contemplate the 32 parts of the body, which is it's a type of meditation that's described in the Mātikamātā Sutta. It's a type of meditation on the body. And in short, this meditation is often taught to children when they ordain, but in a simplified form, as just 5 parts. According to the scriptures, there are 32 parts of the body, but we can break them down into just 5 if we want to be really simple. So in teaching children, we often teach them to contemplate first the hair of the head. This is all the hair of the head, envision it just as separate from the body. Hair of the body, then nails, teeth, and skin. Just to contemplate the body in parts, one by one part by one part. This is a type of meditation on the body. So she did that meditation in her spare time. So she spent her days cooking for the monks, the 60 monks, and she did this meditation in her spare time. And because she practiced diligently, she realized the 3 lower path levels of path knowledge. So she realized the 3 lower stages of enlightenment, up until the realization of what they call anagami, path and fruition, or the state of a non-returner. And if we don't, so it's hard to explain it simply, but we can just say that she realized great benefit from the practice. She purified her mind to a large extent. And in addition, she gained some special type of knowledge and also supernormal powers, such as the divine eye, the ability to see things that are either very far away or, or very small, or things that are behind another wall, things that you would not normally be able to see with the normal eye. And the divine ear is similar, being able to hear sounds that are very far away, to be able to hear people speaking in another country, for example, things that you cannot normally hear with the ordinary ear. So this is just a byproduct. This was what resulted from the meditation, in addition to the primary benefit, which was gaining knowledge. She thought, I've gained this extraordinary knowledge from the practice. I think the monks must have surely gained complete freedom, liberation, because they can practice full time. So she looked with her divine eye to see, to look at their minds, and she saw that none of them had even developed concentration. And she looked further, and she saw that the cause was that they did not have suitable food. Because some of them liked sweet food, some of them liked salty food, some of them liked spicy food, some of them liked bitter food, and they each had different tastes. So she realized that they needed to have proper food, and she set out to cook what each one of them needed. And one by one, they got the food that was right for them, and getting that food that was suitable for them, they were able to develop concentration and wisdom. So that by the end of the 3 months of the rainy season, all the 60 monks had realized all 4 stages of enlightenment. They had all become arahants. So we can understand from this story that meditation practice can be beneficial for us and can bring great benefit whether we have a lot of time or a little time to do it. So we should treat the time that we have to practice as valuable. So of course it helps to be able to go on retreat, because the environment of a retreat is supportive, just the way coming to a group like this is also supportive. These are good things to do to give yourself the appropriate setting for doing meditation. But the time that we're at home and at work is also very important to use. So as we've taken the precepts here, this is the basis for concentration to arise. We need to have a foundation in not harming others if we're going to develop concentration, that is stability of mind, and then wisdom. So first I'm going to speak a little bit about the practice, and then I'm going to speak about ways we can do it at home. And can I go about 5 minutes over?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mātikamātā said that everyone should try to find an hour a day to meditate at home. You should try to find a place in your home where you can be undisturbed for an hour, and choose a time when your chores are finished but you're not too tired. He was asked to give a talk over the radio in Burma that lasted no longer than 15 minutes and described how to meditate so that whoever listened to this in Burma, whatever their walk of life, could understand how to meditate and then do it in their own home. So he started by summarizing that the Buddha's teaching can be boiled down to 3 words. Sato sampajano viharaya in Pali, which means that one should dwell mindfully, being mindful. One should dwell being mindful and comprehending fully. What is it that we need to be mindful of and comprehend fully? There are 6 kinds of objects that arise at the 6 sense doors. There's sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and then thoughts, imagination, and so on. So these are the objects that arise at the 6 sense doors. And the Buddha taught to be aware of them, that when seeing happens, to put the attention at the eye door and note it as seeing. So we should be aware of things the way they are. When hearing happens, to put the attention at the ear door and to note it as hearing. When smelling happens, to put the attention at the nose door, note it as smelling. When a taste arises on the tongue, to put the attention on the tongue and to note it as tasting. And then touch. Touch is something that can be experienced all over the body, almost all over the body. Any place that is moist, that means almost every place except for the nails and the hair on the head, the hairs of the body. Those places that are completely dry have no sensitivity. But all the other parts of the body that have some moisture are capable of receiving touch. And so touch, you can feel touch of external objects as well as internal objects. And in essence, we become aware of touch can be known anytime we make an action. So when we bend our limbs or stretch or walk or stand up, sit down, lying down, observing the movement of the abdomen rising and falling, all of these things are things that we can know as touch. And then there's thinking, planning, imagining, and so on that can happen at the mind door. So, because part of the instruction is to be aware of our activities, there are ways that when we are doing our daily life that we can choose an activity to sorry, I'm saying this backwards. But by being mindful of our activities in a particular way, we can develop mindfulness while doing them. And I will give an example. For example, if we decide that every time we sweep the floor, we're going to try to be mindful of the action of doing it, that decision to take special care in being mindful of that activity can be a way to develop mindfulness that is not just sitting and not also walking. Or, for example, if you have a corridor that you have to walk through many times during the day, either at your work or within the house, you can make a decision that every time you enter that corridor, you're going to be especially mindful of your walking. Put the attention on the legs and be mindful of every step as you make them. So in that way, you can remind yourself to be mindful throughout the day, or close the door to your office for 10 minutes and watch just sit at your desk and watch the rising and falling of the abdomen. These are all some ways that you can insert mindfulness into your day by using the instructions and applying them to a day activity that you do. Well, and another way is to divide tasks into the planning stage and the doing stage. So, for example, if you're going to cook something, to plan, do the planning part of it, and then focus on the actions that you need to do after you've done the planning, like taking the foods out of the fridge, or chopping, and so on. So if you can separate out the planning part of a task and the active part of the task, you can focus more carefully on the action. So this ends my talk. So let's meditate together. You don't take the precept yet?
I just explained that we were going to
sorry about that. Yeah. Usually before Dhamma talk, you take the precepts. So, can maybe... Yeah. So we can, if you repeat in Pali after me, just to make sure, and then just say it in French.